Get ready to be dazzled by nature's golden spectacle, because in this video I'm sharing my favorite yellow plants for fall that will warm up your garden with a sunny golden glow. So let's get right into it. First up is northern spicebush. This grows in zones 4 through 9 in full sun to part shade. It gets about 6 to 12 feet high and wide. And northern spicebush is a spicy citrus scented native plant with yellow flowers in spring on bare branches. The foliage turns yellow gold in the fall, which makes it really awesome for your fall garden. It's also a great native plant. It feeds the birds, and it also hosts the black spicebush swallowtail butterflies. They lay their white eggs on the underside of the leaves. There are both male and female varieties of northern spicebush, and it's recommended that you grow at least 3 of these in your garden, so you need a little bit of space to have this one. It's a great shrub for screening and for privacy, and it's super adaptable to different soil types. It tolerates, like I said, full sun to part shade, but it is more compact and provides a lot better fall color in full sun, so just keep that in mind. Spicebush is also fairly deer resistant. Next up is Dwarf, little lemon goldenrod. Zones 5 through 8 in full sun. It gets about 12 to 14 inches high and 18 inches wide. This is just one variety of goldenrod. Actually, any variety of goldenrod that you can fit into your garden is an awesome plant for fall. But this dwarf little lemon, it's a petite version of native goldenrod. It's a great plant for a fall show in your garden, especially in the front of the border, because this is particularly small. In late summer, the well-branched foliage is completely covered with dense clusters of bright lemon yellow flowers. It can also be cut back after flowering for a second flush of yellow in the fall. Next up is Audubon's native Meadow sweet Spirea. This grows in zones 3 through 7 in full sun to part shade. It gets about 3 to 5 feet high and wide. And Meadow sweet Spirea has tiny clusters of frilly blooms that form conical spikes in white or very pale pink. They perfume your garden all summer long. The foliage is kind of a toothy edge to it, and it's bright green, but in the fall it turns this beautiful golden yellow color. It's almost like a yellow orangey color, but I'd say golden in color. This is part of the National Audubon Society's line of natives, and it's also a host plant for the azure butterfly. It's drought tolerant, moisture loving, fairly deer resistant, and it doesn't have any major pest or disease problems that are recorded, at least. So I think this is an awesome option, and it gives you that yellow foliage without being too intense. Next up, we have Arnold Promise Witch Hazel, and this is a native cultivar of the witch hazel. This grows in zones 5 through 9. It grows in part shade, it says, but I've seen it in my area grow in actually full shade. It gets about 15 feet high and 15 feet wide. I think everyone should have a witch hazel in their garden because it has just amazing 4-season interest. It has this beautiful open spreading habit. It flowers with these wavy clear yellow petals, and they have red cups, and these are on the bare branches like in very early spring or almost late winter. They're very fragrant too. It's got blazing orange fall foliage. So in the very late winter into early spring, you get those yellow blossoms with the red, and then in fall, you get this beautiful orange color. I think it's a real problem solver plant, and it works really well if you already have established trees in your landscape and you're looking for like smaller understory trees that will grow in that shade. It likes acidic soil, but it also grows in clay, and it's fairly adaptable. Next up, we have Summersweet Ruby Spice, which is also called Clethra. This grows in zones 4 through 9 in full sun to part shade, gets about 3 to 6 feet high and 3 to 4 feet wide. Ruby Spice Clethra has vivid pink flower spikes that bloom in the summer on the new growth of this shrub, and in the fall the foliage turns this super awesome yellow color that you see on the screen, which adds to its multi-season interest. It's a medium-sized shrub and tolerates a wide variety of conditions, including along roadsides, planting along roadsides or even near seashores. It can take that road salt or the salt in the air. It also tolerates clay soil and most soil types. Here we have Ginkgo Autumn Gold. This is a beautiful tree. It grows in zones 4 through 8 in full sun. It's 40 to 50 feet high and 25 to 30 feet wide. The Autumn Gold is also known as the maidenhair tree. It's actually the world's oldest tree. It has unusually shaped leaves and really stunning branching pattern. It's very symmetrical and just a very stately tree. It turns this beautiful gold color that you see on the screen in the fall, and all the leaves will drop at one time, which is kind of incredible. It's an incredible scene to see, and they all drop at once and they just leave a golden carpet on the ground. There's actually several different varieties and sizes of the ginkgos. It's tolerant of pollution, disease, insects, and more. This autumn gold variety is a male cultivar of the tree. The female versions of ginkgos create fruit, and it's like a really odd and awful smelling fruit, so a lot of people kind of dismiss ginkgos altogether, but this is a male variety, so you wouldn't have the fruit or the smell. The only issue with this tree is that it's not native, and it's definitely a very, very slow grower. I have one of these in my yard, and for the first few years it barely grew at all, and now it just grows like a couple inches a year, so you have to wait a really long time. I think there are native options that may be a better fit unless you're just like really in love with this tree, but I just love that golden carpet feel and the golden color on this tree. Here we have the yellow twig dogwood. This grows in zone 4 through 9 in full to part shade. It gets about 6 to 10 feet high and 5 to 6 feet wide. It has white flowers in the spring, white berries in the fall, and not only that, it's really cool. After the leaves drop in the end of fall, the branching turns bright yellow and it stays bright yellow through the entire winter. So it's a really cool option, very different. You may be familiar with the red twig dogwood, which is really similar except the branching is red, but this yellow twig I think is a lot less known. Yellow twig dogwood is very wildlife and butterfly friendly, and just so you know, the twigs will be a bit brighter if it does get more sun. So the more sun it gets, that's sort of what controls that color of the branching. These are very adaptable to all different soil types, are great for erosion control, and tolerate slope planting really well. So if you have a problem area of a slope, try this dogwood out. They're also not deer resistant, so I know that's a big con for a lot of you that are dealing with deer pressure. It would look really great, I think, with a backdrop of evergreens to really make the branches stand out once all the leaves fall, but definitely a super unique and really cool shrub to check out, yellow twig dogwood. Just so you know, this of course isn't an exhaustive list of every yellow plant or tree for fall, so if you have a favorite that didn't make my list, please leave it in the comments below for us so we could all check them out and look them up. And if you want to learn more about designing a landscape that looks amazing not just in the fall but in all 4 seasons, I invite you to check out my Design Your 4 Season Garden course, and I'd love to have you in there. And all of the links to the plants mentioned in this video are going to be in the description below if you want to check them out or even purchase them online. If you liked this video, you're also going to like all of my other plant list videos. I'll leave a link to the playlist right here, and I'll see you over in the next video.